Okay, so what we're going to do now is so I've realized something that is an issue that will come um, later on by the time we are going to be texturing these clothes. For these clothes, I have decided to use some real world materials. So I'm gonna use some material for a shirt, and I'm gonna use that texture on this our shirts. I'm gonna use a stripe. It could be striped red shirts, red and white shirts. I could use any other color. I also have added a different reference. We're not gonna be doing anything much with this reference. We're just gonna pick the skin color and use it for our character. As you would see, this is the reference we used for styling the character hair. So we'll use this guy's skin tone for that, for this body. So right now, what I want us to do is I want us to get rid of the solidify, because what the issue we're gonna have is by the time we're gonna be texturing, we're gonna do what we call UV map. And UV map basically means that we're gonna cut this 3D object into a flat plane and texture on that flat plane for it to connect and wrap around this 3D shirts. Okay, now by the time we're gonna start to try to cut this into a flat plane, it's gonna be quite technical. When you have all this thickness around, it's gonna be very difficult to figure out which areas to cut out so that this thing can be flat. Okay, so in order to make our work a little more easier for us, let's get rid of the solidify. So now we have a very flat plane. I mean, you can see we have a sharp plane clothes. You can see how sharp these areas are. It doesn't have any thickness to it. Then next I'm gonna apply the mirror modifier. I think it's been there long enough. And then what we're gonna do now is we're gonna start adding some thickness to the collar, and then we'll move over and add thickness to the end of the shirts, the hand area of the shirt. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna go into face mode and I'm gonna pick these faces. Let's turn off the subdivision for a moment so we can see this model a little more better. So I'm gonna grab all these faces, and I'm gonna grab these faces as well, and then I'm gonna press Alt E to extrude along normals. So I'm gonna click on extrude faces along normals. So once I do that, I can now drag and give it a little bit of thickness, not too much, just a little bit, something like that. Then you can turn on this subdivision modifier, and now you can see the color has some thickness, but we still have some roughness and some jaggedity around these areas of the shirts. Maybe I think the back is fine, so this area. So to fix that, let's just add some additional edge loops to support these areas so they can be smooth. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add an edge loop over here. So I'm gonna add Ctrl R, add an edge loop, and bring it here. Okay, all right. I'm gonna add another one. Of course, the edge loops is running all the way down to our shirt, so it's gonna change the smoothness of this area of our shirt. Let me hide the tie for now. So you can see this area starts to look a little bit sharp. So of course, all we need to do is to space out this line from the middle line. So we'll do that later, but for now, let's get this color looking much better for our clothes. So I'm gonna add another edge loop here and do the same, and then I'm gonna add one right in the middle here and bring it up. Let's look at the back. Alright, okay, that's good. So now next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come over to these areas. I'm gonna turn off the subdivision surface for now, and then I'm gonna just grab these vertices. Okay, grab these vertices. Of course, to toggle to X-ray, just press Alt Z, and I'm gonna press the G 2 times and slide this at the side. So I'm gonna do the same thing to the other side. So and then I'm gonna slide, press G double times and slide. Now we could as well grab this as well. Grab this. Make sure you don't grab this one, just these points. Okay, then look from this angle and try to make the curve very nice. Push it up a little bit. Okay, I think that's okay. I think that's fine. We could as well space this area out a little bit. Do the same for this area and even for this area as well. Now let's turn on the subdivision surface, see how it is looking, and I think that is looking much better for our clothes. Now for our shirt, so now the next thing we'll do, I'm gonna turn this back off again, subdivision, turn it off again to see our mesh. Then I'm gonna go to the edge loop. Now I'm gonna add a little bit of thickness around this area. Of course you could leave it this way, but when you add this to look nice, but somehow if the camera goes this way around the character, it starts to look a little bit odd. So that is why I'm gonna make some additional changes to this area of the shirt, because a real shirt is never this sharp. So I'm gonna grab this edge loop, okay, and I'm gonna extrude this along normals again. Alt E, oh sorry, just press extrude, the E key, right click, and then I'm gonna scale this in like so, and then I'm gonna extrude again, right click to release the extrude, and then I'm gonna drag it in like so. Okay, then let's see in subdivision. Okay, it's coming along a little bit. Let's see over here. I think this we can scale it in as well, or maybe we could push it to be somewhere around the center like so. Let's see. All right, then I'm gonna turn this off again, and I'm gonna select this edge loop, and then I'm gonna scale it in to have a little bit of thickness going on in that direction. So let's turn this back off again. Maybe we could even add an edge loop around this area. Let's see if that helps. And yeah, I think that helps quite a lot. And we could do same for this area here. Add a support loop. Maybe let's get rid of this loop, we don't need it. So yeah, this is what we have. We turn this off now. So now from this angle, of course we could push this, we turn this off, we could grab this and push it all the way up, or we could extrude again and push it up like so. You could scale it out a little bit. Okay, so now we've got this having some bit of thickness. Maybe we could scale this in even more. Okay, so something like this. All right, now all we just have to do, we could split this into two and mirror it to the other area. So to do that, I'm gonna go to the front view, I'm gonna double tap into the X-ray mode, and I'm gonna go to first select, and I'm gonna select half of these faces like this. I'm gonna delete half of these faces, and then I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna just select this, okay, and I'm gonna add a mirror modifier to this. Okay, now this mirror modifier, I'm gonna make sure it is on top of the subdivision modifier. You can see that issue has been fixed. So now next thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make sure that clipping is turned on so that they clip at the middle, and then I'm just gonna apply this mirror, and now we've got our shirt done. Of course, we could harden this area or even add some details. We could, let me turn this subdivision off again. We could even add an edge loop here. Actually, I wouldn't need to do that, so you could on your own do something like this. You could add an edge loop here and just extrude these faces like this. Press extrude, and or rather I'll press Alt E to extrude along normals, and then extrude this out a little bit, and then I can add an edge loop here, bring it all the way down like so. And can as well add one all the way this area, and one all the way to this area like so, and just something like this. But for us to do that, we need to adjust the shape of this area so that they look much better. But in this case, I don't need such details, so I'm just gonna leave it as it is. So now we've gotten this shirt fixed, we've fixed the color, we've fixed this area of the shirt. I think it is time to move on and start adding materials and doing the UV map for our clothings, so, and then start to wrap up on this course. And hope to see you in the next class. Do practice, and hope to see you there. Bye bye.